Hi and welcome again to that second part of the video. So I was in the approaches to learning, and I've said that we want to write the sentence which looks like in order to for students to objective strands, and that is, if I can recall, let's just go to, I'm just going to go to the mathematics guide in order to show you once again what it was. So here is like the strand of the criterion. So for instance, if we would say organize information using a logical structure, we would have here in order, well, I'm going to do it actually. So if I copy paste that, so I could say in order for students to organize information using a logical structure, which is related to criterion C, students must, and then you have the skill indicator once again coming from principles into practice guide. So here I could say organize and depict information logically, and here would write this here. So it pretty much is repetitive for that part, of course, and I agree. But the idea is that using a logical, I'm sorry, I missed something here. I'm going to go back to the structure. I missed the word structure here. So here I would have that which is from criterion C. So in order for students to organize information using the logical structure, they must organize and depict information logically. So even though it is pretty obvious, the question will be what activities will I choose in order to teach that, because we want explicit and implicit teaching of that skill in order for the students to improve. And they have to receive feedback as well. And the feedback part is often linked to the formative assessment. Remember that every time that we are evaluating students, we are going to use feedback from ourselves or from their peers in order for them to improve their skills. So here it was. So the activities, this is that, okay, I'm going to go also to the module notes, and here you have what is called, with colors here, the skill categories and the skill clusters. And you'll see at the end that often this is the idea. We have a skill category, we have a skills cluster, we choose a skill indicator, as I've done, and also an objective strand, which we are going to choose, and we write that sentence. But this is the first part of the activity. It's not all. Once we have that sentence, which says what we want to develop, we have to create an explicit learning experience and an implicit learning experience. These experiences, which are you have here another template. So you have the objective strand, the approaches of learning skill, ATL skill, which are in the sentence in a way. But here you have to think about, once again, if you fill in the unit plan, you don't have to complete the templates, either one, okay, well, it's not either one. At the end, everything is going to be copied and pasted to the unit plan. But if you want to use that template, you can, but it's not mandatory. So the two learning experiences are things that we are going to do throughout the unit. So at some place in the unit, we are going to plan a few times where we are developing explicitly these skills. So these learning engagement activities, if I may say, are not going here. They are, well, they might be if your coordinator, IB coordinator, asks you to, because I personally like the teachers to copy it here as well, because I can use it for my ATL chart in our school. But else, the ATL activities have to be, let's say activity 1 has to be planned here in the learning experiences, because it is a learning experience and teaching strategies. Once again, following the chronological order. So the activities that allows inquiry plus the activity that allows the development of the ETL skills have to be listed here and well detailed here in the learning experiences and teaching strategies. I hope this is fine for you. So let's go now to the third learning engagement activity, the differentiation and inclusion forum. Here there are in the module notes 4 scenarios which I copy pasted, so you can just read what I've done. But there is of course a webinar here. But if I use it, what I ask you, if I go, well, you are in team, you don't have to do the work for all of the 4 scenarios, so I split you in 4 groups. So here, let's say the 4th scenario is about physical health education, and there is something which we are talking about inclusion and differentiation. But I gave you a resource here, which is that one. There is another one. Well, I couldn't have it actually. I guess this, yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, there is that resource here, which I have attached, and if you click on it, you'll see that it's pretty complete. So it's an interesting reading. Of course, you can just go through it in order to take some strategies, but this is something which is very complete, which it can be used as well for your school to build your inclusion policy. Okay, so this is a reference that you have here in order to do that activity, and you can use your own experience, of course. So divided in teams, this is the third learning engagement activity. And then once that we understand everything, we have to pretty much complete the unit plan. So in the last learning engagement activity, here, if you haven't done it until that point, you have to fill in the unit planner and then to use the Evaluating MYP Unit Plans guide in order to try to improve it in all of the sections that you've done so far. So what you should have, and I gave you the resource once again, what you should have at the end is, if you go back to the unit plan, we had done that before. We do the inquiry questions here in module 4. The objectives, the summative assessment, which is, remember, the GRASP task, summative task, and the relation, which was asked actually in a learning engagement. You had to try to summarize the relationship between your task and the statement of inquiry and the objectives, for instance, like D1, DI, to D3, for instance. So you have to write all the objectives and strands here that are assessed. So all of that we've done before, and that part we are doing it in module 4. That part, as I've said, the formative assessment and the differentiation part, everything has to be like written. This is actually the task in module 4. And then we don't talk about the resources, which you can, of course, add, and that part, which is the reflection part. But of course, as I've said, questions that you have asked yourself before teaching your units will actually go there. But for now, it's not something which we are going to fill. Well, you can, but it's not mandatory. So basically, you have pretty much the whole unit plan completed at the end of that activity. So throughout the online workshop, we went until there. So to complete it, of course, once again, I have 2 options for virtual meetings, which are not mandatory, but which are offered here. Last time it was hidden for some reason, and I couldn't unhide it until the day before, because I don't know, it was like a bug in the system. Now I just found a way to do it. Well, actually, I have to plan it after unhiding the module, because it couldn't be unhidden when I unhide the module. And then there is also to complete the workshop, the conclusion part, where you have to just publish a final reflection here in the last forum. And it has been a pleasure to facilitate that online workshop. all through these last 3 weeks and for the next week. And I hope that you brought things out of it, of course. And I wish you a really good week. So thank you for all of your work. Bye-bye.